Bring in Fox News contributor Kiron Skinner. She's also a senior advisor at the Heritage Foundation and was director of State Department policy planning in the first Trump administration. Kiron, good to see you on this Saturday.
Thank you.
You say that there never has been a shadow war. Some people call this a shadow war with Iran. What do you mean by that? There's never been one, you say.
Yeah, I've said that a number of times this year on air. We called for the 47-year conflict with Iran a shadow war, a twilight war, something less than war. What we're seeing right now is the real deal. This has always been a war, a more traditional war with kinetic moments throughout the decades. And the naval blockade of Iranian ports by the Trump administration, countered by its own blockades from Tehran and their seizure of ships and menacing of ships, commercial and oil tankers in the region, just shows that this is real war. And when you don't get the vocabulary right, you can't have the right strategy and doctrine. What President Trump has done is really flipped the script and told the truth. How difficult this is, and we're seeing it. Negotiating with whoever's in charge in Tehran is almost impossible because they dig in their heels, they make commitments, and when you walk out of the room, they tear the piece of paper up. The way that we are now negotiating with the IRGC, if they're actually in control, is on the high seas. We've got to prevail there to get them into a conference room.
Yeah.
That's what's at stake.
You talk about, not knowing who's in charge in Iran, and apparently that's the reason that President Trump called his negotiating team home. Listen to this.
But they weren't meeting with the leader of the country. They were meeting with other people. And I said, we're just not going to do it. They are fighting with each other. There's tremendous infighting. They're probably fighting for leadership in many cases.
They're fighting for leadership, meaning the Iranians. If you don't know who's running the country, it's pretty hard to negotiate a peace deal.
Right. It's not time to really negotiate a peace deal. It is time to prevail on the high seas. It is time to bring the Iranian economy further down the chute. And that, to me, will help settle this intractable problem. But the fact that there is a leadership crisis, in one way, it can be seen as dangerous, and it is, when you've got a nation where it's not clear to the rest of the leaders in the world who to talk to, who to call on the phone. But the other part is that it could mean that the regime is crumbling under its own weight. And that plays into the hands of the millions of Iranians, good people in that country and throughout the world, who want to see freedom come to Iran and a new regime that represents the people. So this may happen on its own because we set the foundation along with Israel through the policies and the military actions and the resolve that we have demonstrated in this year alone, but also during President Trump's first year.
Of course, the president has said many times that he would continue or resume the bombing campaign and get bridges and power plants and that kind of thing. So far, that hasn't really happened. Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg says he advocates a very aggressive posture, but not necessarily the one the president is talking about. Listen.
You don't start bombing again necessarily because you're going to be hurting the Iranian people. But you take things for value. You take the islands of the Strait. You have 2 Marine amphibious ready groups that can do it. I know there's risk. I know there's danger to that. I know people can get hurt. But you want to close this war out in a short period of time.
So what about that? We've got Marines on board ships standing by, ready to go. What about using those Marines to take some of the oil facilities that Iran has on its islands?
You know, the war and kinetic conflict actually expose your strengths and weaknesses, both on the diplomatic side and on the military side. I think what it's exposed here is that we have more military options at our disposal that don't include bombing infrastructure throughout the country. For example, we have new technology for unmanned minesweepers that are highly effective, and it would take us much, much longer to find and disable all of the mines that have been placed in the Persian Gulf and the Strait in particular by Iran under traditional means. And so I think we should use our technology to finish off what we're doing in the Strait of Hormuz, make the blockade something that disables the country in some profound ways before we advance to taking out infrastructure. I do agree with General Kellogg, a good friend and a highly respected colleague, that you don't want to harm the Iranian people. It's, you know, we're walking a tightrope here because this is not about hurting the people.
Right.
I think we will, in fact, see all kind of death if we take that step.
It's tough. It's a tough line to walk, as you say, trying to
Yes.
bring the government to its knees without hurting the populace there. We'll see what happens. Kiron Skinner, Heritage Foundation, thank you.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.